We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything, and I mean everything, in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this rebel outpost with a donation. Hit the $sign where you make a comment, and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls later in the show. Ross Dellinger just put out an article. Holy bleeping smokes. Look. You think there is tension inside the PATC studio? You think there is tension inside the PATC family? Do you think there's tension inside the PATC chat room? Do you think we're going to read comments with tension tonight in the chat room? Do you think we're going to get some phone calls filled with tension? Now ramp that up 1,000-fold. coaches, the administrators, the commissioners, they don't really have control. They themselves really do not know what's going to happen. I have said for weeks, I have really focused on this part about Deloitte. And now we're starting to focus on this enforcement arm. We have no idea. This is college football peek around the corner. I'm supposed to give you an accurate peek around the corner, or at the very least, I'm supposed to give you my best shot and say this is what we believe is just round the corner in college football. But for the last week or two, I've said I have no idea what is going to happen. I have no idea how that Deloitte is going to work. I have no idea if they're going to run that thing tight or run it loose. I have no idea how, if you are a Power 4 conference school and you are going to be spending $3 million or $2.5 million on men's basketball rev share out of the $20.5 million, I don't know how much you're going to be able to close the gap with a different athletic department that is putting all their rev share in the men's basketball or most of it. I don't know. I don't know how successful you're going to be. I have no idea. I do not know how that Deloitte is going to run. I don't know about the enforcement arm. And boy, oh boy, people are front loading. People are front loading their NIL deals. We've known about this. But the great Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports puts on an article about 30 minutes ago. And holy smokes. People are front loading. They're trying to get these deals done. You've got the Final Four going on. The championship game. April 7th. Also the Judge Wilkins, 75-year-old judge, probably going to make a ruling. I try to get this thing all buttoned up. And who knows what the judge is going to say when this goes into effect on this date or that. Who knows what she's going to say. So everybody's trying to get their deal done. It's beat the clock. It's a game of beat the clock. And we don't even know when the clock strikes midnight. We don't even know. We don't know if the clock strikes midnight on Monday night, Tuesday night, or June 30th. Wow. We have got a stack show. And I have made the executive decision that on April 7th, on a Monday, I am not going to stream that courtroom live. First of all, I read that it only is available for like the first 1,000 people Zoom call. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until it's over. Judge makes a ruling. People start reporting on it. And then we're going to be going live on Monday, April 7th. So buckle up, brace for impact for that most important, transformative day. Holy smokes. We've got a stack show today. We have got an absolute stack show tonight. Jimmy Austin gifted a membership. Holy smokes. MBM, Mr. Oklahoma State Cowboy, was gifted a membership. MBM, when you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Jimmy. Jimmy, thank you so very much for your continued generosity. Jimmy and MBM, both of you are officially knighted Cloak and Dagger members of our program. Thank you, Jimmy, MBM. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Numbskull News. Let's do a quick roll call. The Walking Geek is in the house. Kayla Ramirez, Steel Austin, Jay Go Blue, Cray Struthers, AMAC, Penn State, Charlie Atwood, Seminole, Old Dad Yo, Big Gun Shop, Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina, Ohio Bobcats, Stephen Vitt, Cyclone, Stormy Cyclone, Antoine Johnson, Arizona State Sundeva, Bruce Harris, Boomer, Jay Chapman, CFB Plus, Taytown Hawk, Rock Chalk, TikTok, Beat the Clock, Tumasta is in the house, the Almighty Finn, Chris G. Tumasta. Skaven, yes, hello Mad Gopher, hello Mad Cornhusker. Lee is in the house. Praying for you, Lee, praying for everybody who's had to try to survive the tornadoes, the storms, the flooding, and try to pick yourself back up. My prayers are with you all. Jose is in the house. Breeze Frey. Numbskull News. Chris G. Who am I missing? Mountaineer Jeff Morgan. Lego Gators. Buckeye Expedition Greg, who's very happy with the Buckeyes recruiting going on here in the last couple of days. Secret Agent Nick Kelso, Brickbat. Remember to be a legend. Mr. Mountaineer Daniel Gygax, Bimba 75-79. Go Blue, a freshman quarterback ready to shock the world. Mr. Underwood, Bimba, shocking the world. We shall see. Call me David. Hit the like button. Thank you so much. Xmas Tox is in the house. The Almighty Finn. Wow, yeah, Indiana got hit. Prayers out to Indiana, man. The people of Indiana got hit hard. Don't just don't hit the like button. Smash it with a ball peen hammer. Numbskull News. Okay. Well, let's get on with it. We have got a massive stack show. Well, let's first talk about what happened after we went off live yesterday. Sacramento State, Pete Thamel reports Sacramento State plans to file an application with the NCAA this week to transition from FCS to FBS in football. They plan to do it as an independent. The school has already filed a waiver to transition as an independent in football, which requires NCAA approval. The school planning to play football in the Big Sky for 25, which is expected to be at the last season there in the Big Sky for Sacramento State if everything is approved. They would be ineligible. They would not be able to go to the football postseason for 25 and 26. They would be football postseason eligible for the 27 season if everything goes smooth, if they get their waiver granted and all that stuff. Pete Thamel, by transitioning as an independent, Sacramento State is positioning itself for FBS conferences. The reason for a waiver is because they aren't transitioning with the conference invite. The school sits in the top 20 media market. and has been aggressive in hiring coaches and in NIL. So here at Peek Around the Corner, we never talked about Sacramento State as being a candidate for the Mountain West or the Pac-12. Never talked about it. Never got any information on it. I don't think there was any steam there at all. Pac-12 has their targets. They're going for them. They might just end up with one additional full members school in Texas State, we believe, or they might be able to attach on a Texas two-step, or maybe they get that long shot UNLV or something else. We don't think so. But we never talked about Sacramento State. But, of course, we all knew that they were trying to get to the FBS. So this is the way to do it. The only look, if I had to put my chips in the middle of the table, if I had to guess what conference Sacramento State would end up being in 27, I would guess Conference USA. Because there's going to be some, I believe there's going to be more movement. I think by 27, 28, something's going to happen with the ACC by that, at the latest. You're going to have a trickling effect. You're going to have AAC schools possibly moving in the ACC, backfilling. You're going to have a bunch of G5 backfilling, and suddenly the Conference USA is going to be looking for somebody. And I think they would be happy to take a Sacramento State in a big market and an athletic department and boosters who are willing to put money into their athletic programs. NIL for one, new stadium for another. So that's where but regardless, Sacramento State, if they get that waiver, if they get everything approved, if they can get in and only play one more year in the Big Sky in 2025, I think there's a very good chance they're going to end up in the conference by 2027, if not 27, 28. I don't think they're going to be independent for the next 4 years in FBS football. Big story, Sacramento State moving up, trying to move up. It's not done. It's not official, but moving up to the FBS. That happened yesterday, so I wanted to start out with that. Today, meeting in Dallas, Texas. Adam Rittenberg, college football playoff meeting in Dallas is wrapped, and as expected, no votes, decisions were made on seeding and format for 25 and beyond. Executive Director Rich Clark called today an extension, kicking the can down the road of an annual meeting later this month. They are, quote, walking down the path of some decisions, unquote. They're getting there. They got to get there. They have to get there soon. Excuse me. College football playoffs decisions. Ross Dellinger on 25 format and perhaps governance are more likely to happen in 3 weeks at the organization's annual spring meeting, nothing today. So again, in April 23rd, April 24th, April 22nd, somewhere around there, we are most likely going to get some decisions on the playoff format for 25, which is probably going to give us a big indication of what things are going to look like in 2026. Adam Rittenberg then says the commissioners didn't focus solely on the one issue of seeding 1 through 12. or 1 through 14, or 1 through 16, or just the 25 format versus 26 and beyond. Rich Clark. They're really trying to look at it holistically to make a good decision on this, because it's going to set the tone for what happens down the road. So, holistically, make a good decision on this, because it's going to set the tone for what happens in the future. Alrighty, that is the Dallas meeting today. Dallas meeting today. Anthony Carlson, rest in peace. Golden Blue dude, Chris Petrie, 2 years ago today. We've been talking about, again, I talked about it on the live show, previous live show. This time of year, I think about Golden Blue dude. I think about him a lot, but this is really when it hits hard. It's been 2 years since we lost Golden Blue dude. I was asked a few days ago by somebody who was a new family member in PATC, and that person asked, "Did you know Chris Petrie? And he came into our chat room. He was coming into our chat room quite often. Right before he passed away, he was coming on in here. He was encouraging me behind the curtain. He was encouraging the show. He would say, please, everybody, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. We communicated back and forth. We were going to get together. I was going to pop up on his show. It would have been fantastic. I was with my wife. We were not at home when my phone blew up and we got the word. The first was that Chris Petrie passed away, and for whatever reason, my mind went to like car accident or whatever, and I told Maria, and she knew who he was because I would put on his show. We have the big screen TV in the bedroom, and I put on the Golden Blue Dude show, and we would watch it together. And I love so many. Our shows are quite different from each other in some ways not. Both very passionate about college football. He was passionate about the West Virginia Mountaineers. I'm another gold, a maroon and gold, Minnesota. But I love how he dealt with people who just were trolling on his show. He dealt with it a lot better than we do here at Peek Around the Corner. He had such a maturity about him. Just a great guy. He wanted to just have joy about talking about college football. And I've talked about this as well. First of all, he inspired a lot of people. I mean, Coos Corner, Justin Walker, who does an unbelievable job on his channel. I watch his channel all the time. He just did an episode on what are the 5 things that could ruin the season, West Virginia football season. And, he inspired Mr. Walker, and my favorite all-time college football YouTube live show, watching it live, was when when the Golden Blue Dude did a live show, a live stream after West Virginia lost to Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. And he drove back to his hotel room. He went to the game. He went to the backyard brawl game at Pittsburgh. And he's driving and he's live streaming his emotion. He wanted to put it on record. Guess what? He wanted to be authentic. That's why I love the guy. Have you ever seen a more authentic person than Gold and Blue Dude? He didn't care how bad he wasn't interested in like how good he looked or how bad, or he didn't care if you saw his raw emotions. He didn't think that was a bad thing at all. He was so upset. He was so entertaining. And you could feel his hurt. And he was, and you know, he would take a couple shots at the ref and say, well, it's not really their fault. We should have done that and this. You know, he was so up and down on Neil Brown. He showed the passion of the Mountaineers fans in that live stream. God, that was great. I was like, holy smokes. The courage, just maybe courage ain't the right word. The authenticity of the guy. He just opened up his heart and you saw all the scars and bruises of being a Mountaineer fan. That's what he showed people. And then sometimes when they won, when he was doing a live watch party, you saw the other flip side of that. The incredible joy of being a Mountaineer fan, of being a college football fan. I know I'm rattling on. I know I am rattling on, but God. You know, and you go through these college football YouTube channels, and all these people, man, they're working hard, and they do it all differently. And some of these people are so incredibly talented. Some of them are so bloody smooth at what they do. Some of them are so incredibly smart. Some of them have memories like, and I'm always leaning on you guys because my memory, I'm talking about a football player and then I can't remember his name. You guys kick in and help me out. Golden Blue Dude, man, it wasn't smooth. It wasn't, he didn't, you know, besides the beginning when he said sunglasses check, thick skin check, Pepsi check, all that was smooth. But then when he did his live show, man, he just, whatever happened, happened. But nobody, and myself included, nobody could ever match Golden Blue Dude when it comes to authenticity. And if you've been a member of this show for any length of time, you know that is like my number one, baby. Be authentic and you're cool with me. Be a fraud, be a fake. Don't have any self-deprecating humor. You know, don't take the L when you need to take the L. Boy, that just burns me to the core. This North Minneapolis Robbinsdale kid, you got to be authentic. And Golden Blue Dude absolutely led the way. And you know, and I'm going to say one more thing. He would do shows from his truck on occasion. Yeah. One more thing, you know when I think of Golden Blue Dude, you know what I think about Golden Blue Dude? Randy Travis, the 3 wooden crosses. When I listen to that, is it Randy Travis, right? 3 wooden crosses. There are 3 wooden crosses on the right side of the highway. Why there is not 4 of them, heaven only knows. And then if you go listen to the song, that's when I think of Golden Blue Dude when I listen to that song. Because the impact that he had, what he left behind, it isn't what you leave when you leave this world. It's what you leave when you go. The impact that Golden Blue Dude had on his family, you could tell. And you can just see the impact. It's still going on. You know, everything that Mr. Walker does and other Mountaineer YouTube channels and this one and others, all that is Golden Blue Dude led the way with his authenticity and his love of college football. And of course, his Mountaineers, his West Virginia, his state, his people. Okay, we've got a stacked show. We've gotten through some of it. But again, this is a live show, and sometimes he had a serious work ethic. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. 100%. There is Coos Corner. Absolutely, Greg. He did. Thank you for the shout out, for shouting out. Gee, I didn't know you were in the house. Yeah, love Coos Corner. And Coos Corner is impacting just like Golden Blue Dude did, right? You know, somebody's gonna pick up the baton. I'm not saying Justin Walker is going away anytime soon, but I'm saying there's other people that get inspired by the work that Walker and other people are doing out there. Holy smokes, Anthony Carlson gifted 20 members. I did not see that, Anthony. Boy, I hope you did not do that a long time ago. Anthony, Mr. Spartan, Andrew, Toast, Big Ten Fan, Random, Tease Lee, Cranky Tiger, The Observer, Patrick Baylor Bear, who's still mad at me because I picked the Baylors to come in second in the Big 12. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I am crazy, or I'm crazy like a fox. And I think it's because I'm a fox in 25. Kay Struthers is in the house. Terry Kane, Joe Burkett, Kevin Fox, Matt Higgins, the Buckshot Kid, the Mad Hatter, Susan, John D, Mr. Seminole, Richard, Kevin White, and Adrian Archer. All of you have been gifted a membership by the incredible, generous Anthony Carlson, Mr. Sparty himself. When you all get an opportunity, please say thank you to Anthony for his incredible generosity. Anthony, thank you so very much. I'm very humbled by it. I do apologize. I do not know when you put it up there. I was rambling. I was rambling. I was absolutely rambling. Thank you so much. All of you are knighted, officially knighted, cloak and dagger members of our PATC channel. Holy smokes. Unbelievable generosity. Wow. Numbskull News. He does inspire people. Absolutely. No. Even if he doesn't think he is. He is. Numbskull News. Absolutely. Okay, let's get to what are we talking about here? Before we get to we did the Dallas meeting. Before I get to the Ross Dellinger article, which is the main story of this live show, it's it's a beat the clock time. Nobody knows what the hell is going to happen. It is on the knife's edge. And I think Ross Dellinger uses that phrase, or somebody that he interviewed uses that phrase in this article tonight. It's sitting on the knife's edge, people. We have absolutely no idea the impact, how impactful what Judge Wilkins is going to do, and then what this settlement is going to do in many, many regards. One, the Deloitte, the clearinghouse. Number two, the enforcement arm. Holy smokes, we got more information on that. But first of all, we got to be talking about football scoop Chris Kleiman, just to set the table. Just to set the table on how nervous people are, how angry people are. The industry of college athletics is a disaster. Chris Kleiman, Kansas State's head football coach. April is typically a season of tremendous excitement for college football coaches around the country as everyone begins to get a sense of how their rosters have developed through the spring practices. However, the spring season of 25 has a very different feel to it. With the House settlement on the docket to start early next week, April 7th, it seems like an uncertainty and frustration coaches are feeling has started to reach a boiling point. Kirby Smart, we went through what he said. Chris Kleiman recently chimed in on the state of college football as well with some pointed comments. Yes, they were. Yes, they are. I still think, Chris Kleiman, I still think the industry of college athletics is a disaster. It just is. Between the lines, I think it's great. Kleiman shares. Before speaking for much of the coaching profession on how the month of April has coaches in major college football around the country uneasy, to put it nicely. As we said at the beginning of this live show, tension is everywhere. Tension is inside the PATC family. It's in the chat room. It's in your phone calls. You can see it on other YouTube channels. You can see it on the message boards. You can see it when the coaches talk about it. They have no idea what the hell is going on or what is about to hit college football, college athletics. During this month of April, it's not our decision as coaches, not our decision at Kansas State, but the industry-wide decision because of the House settlement and because of the different legality things and litigation. We've got to remove a lot of kids from the program, and it sucks. I'll be honest with you. It sucks, Chris Kleiman says. There's a lot of kids that want to be here. They want to stay here, and we can't have in the program. There are kids that are paying their way. They have to put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this place. Kids that are invested academically. Now those kids have to make a choice. It's frustrating to me because I don't understand why the number came out at 105, Kleiman says, referring to the roster limit set to come into place. Why can't we slowly bring it down? I don't even know who decided it. But a lot of us coaches talk about it, but we're not in those meetings. We're not in those rooms. The practitioners, the guys that have their boots on the ground every day aren't in the meetings that decide some of these things. I'm sure it happens in other sports as well, but in football in particular, make no mistake, I'm not in favor of this at all. We have a lot of kids that want to be in the program that are not going to be able to be in the program. Then we also have the transfer portal happening in the month of April. There are some positives with that in kids that maybe won't make your 105 will have the opportunity to go on and play somewhere. I think that's great. The negative, which you all know and can assume, is our best players are getting contacted every bleeping day right now. I mean, how can you be a head coach, man? How can you be a head coach? I know you're getting paid a lot of money. I guess that's, and you love developing young men, but man, in this day and age in college football, your players are being contacted. You got to recruit more than you coach. It's just ridiculous. Kleiman goes on to share how the month of April is going to be absolutely crazy for FBS coaches before going on to talk a bit more about the difficulties of roster construction and management during a time filled with uncertainty around every corner. Is there an injured reserve? Have you guys found that out? Kleiman asked reporters in attendance. I don't know. Is there a practice squad? I don't know. I don't think any of those things have been talked about. Or if they have, we don't know. We don't know about them as coaches because we're not in any of those meetings. And finally, in the article. So a lot of us in this industry are really frustrated because a lot of these decisions are made without our input. Now, there's a bunch of articles out there. I mean, this is a Chris Kleiman, Kansas State. You go anywhere in the country. You go anywhere where there's a reporter putting a microphone in front of a coach's mouth asking the questions, and there is frustration. This spring portal is going to be crazy. I know in the case of Minnesota, hardly anybody left in the last portal. I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys leaving. They have to. We got too many guys. Minnesota, I mean, difficult conversations are going to be had. I mean, it's just going to be a bloodletting everywhere. They should have reduced the numbers down slowly. It should have been handled differently. It should have been negotiated better with the lawyers of the House settlement. Nobody feels like they have any control. Fear is dominating right now. Fear. And now let's get into the real fear of the Deloitte, the enforcement arm, and everything else, and Judge Wilkins. Holy smokes. Let's get right to it. The article, Ross Dellinger, released about 30 minutes before we came on live. Let's get to it. This is crazy. When we get through this article, I'm going to get to your phone calls. I promise. But we've got to hit this, guys. We've got to do it. This is all setting up with April 7th. The month of April is going to be crazy on so many different levels, so many different storylines. This April 7th, this is like, this is stopping, this is holding just for a moment all other storylines that are going on in college football. Like everything. Like the Big 12 possible private capital money deal, possibly. The Big 10, possibly. Conference realignment, possibly. The playoff format, possibly. This is like the big stoppage. And there's going to be so many things flowing outside of this. The governance, the new governance. What is that going to look like? This April 7th is like a root canal. You got to get it done. The appointment is set. You got to get it pulled. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost a lot of pain. You're going to have to take a pill afterwards, or you're going to have to drink some beer to get through the night. But whatever way you do it, you've got to get through it. That's what April 7th is all about. Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports. As the Final Four looms, schools are scrambling to spend money on players for next year because you don't know about Deloitte. You don't know how tight they're going to run it. Everybody is playing to beat the clock. Everybody is playing to beat the clock. The contracts are ready to be signed. Some perhaps are even in print. The terms are there. The financials are agreed upon. The contracts are printed off, said Blake Lawrence, CEO of the name, image, and likeness platform of Open Doors, used by dozens of schools. After a team's final game at the final buzzer, as fast as possible, they'll get a signature. The 8 teams, both men and women, competing at the weekend's Final Four are in a race, not just for a championship, but to solidify next season's roster. Holy smokes. They're scrambling to sign current players and transfers to compensation agreements before those agreements become subject to a more rigid new enforcement entity that will prohibit booster collective pay. That is the most impactful part of all of this, in my opinion. Deloitte. You get these deals in before Deloitte is the standard, you're going to be okay. Front load these deals. Get these deals through. But after Deloitte takes control, every NIL deal, which is valued over $600, got to be submitted to Deloitte. And they're either going to make a stamp of approval or they're going to decline the deal. I'm getting ahead of myself. School general managers, administrators, coaches are working to strike deals in what many describe as a mad cash dash to a deadline date of Monday. That includes those still alive in the tournament. Everybody is playing beat the clock. Auburn coach Bruce Pearl told Yahoo Sports, it's obviously really challenging. It presents even more challenges for us because of what our focus is. At the women's Final Four in Tampa, Texas, UCLA, South Carolina, UConn start play Friday, with the title game scheduled for Sunday. Auburn, Duke, Florida, Houston all play begin Saturday in the men's Final Four, the title game Monday night. Monday also looms as a pivotal day in the future of college athletics. A hearing is scheduled at California courtroom, where a judge could, though unlikely on that day, approve the NCAA's landmark settlement of the 3 antitrust lawsuits. The settlement of cases House, Hubbard, and Carter legal challenges over athlete compensation would usher in a cap-based revenue share concept and the new enforcement arm to police booster-backed compensation contracts. Woo! It's pretty simple for the schools. Remember, the schools signed on this. The schools signed off on this settlement deal, and the players, when they go to their first university and their players and they sign, they're opting in or they're opting out. A lot of them are opting in on this deal. So most people are signed in on this deal. It's pretty simple for schools. Before the judge grants approval of the settlement, sign players to contracts. So those deals, if paid out by July 1st, are not subject to the new enforcement. Deals signed after she approves the settlement. Deals signed after she approves the settlement are subject to both the new rev share cap and enforcement clearinghouse, an entity operated by Deloitte expected to prohibit fabricated donor-backed contracts. The date of approval is a moving target. So there's even mystery upon the approval. We don't know when the starting line begins in this new world. Back to the article. No one quite knows when California Judge Claudia Wilkin will make a decision on the settlement. While most involved in the case believe she will eventually grant approval of the settlement, she already granted preliminary approval in the fall, Wilkin may not make her decision until days or weeks after the hearing. After all, Monday's expected 7-hour hearing is scheduled to feature witness testimonies from 14 lawyers and athletes objecting to the settlement. Most schools are playing it safe. just sign the players by the end of Monday's. Just in case Claudia Wilkin approves this thing midnight on Monday, 10 o'clock at night on Monday. These schools just want to they're playing it safe. Let's get all these deals done, but before the end of Monday's hearing. The situation is effing bananas, says one basketball agent. It's a pre-settlement cash dump, says a school general manager. The compensation figures being paid to athletes are wild, says Tommy Gray, the CEO, a company that provides dozens of schools with consultation and strategic planning. Schools aren't just hurriedly signing players to deals, but they are front-loading the contracts. The act of paying out those deals before July 1st, another important settlement-related date by which payments become subject to the new revenue share cap in clearinghouse. It's a mad dash to front load, said Gray. It's fascinating. Some schools are front loading to athletes as much or more than $20 million in booster collective payments this spring and plan to distribute another $3 to $5 million to rosters and revenue share payments this fall, expanding the roster budget to nearly $30 million in 25 and 26, and allowing them to push revenue share payments to the following year's roster. And that's just football. Great adds. The basketball numbers are significant. South Carolina forward Colin Murray Boyles received an offer of $2.5 million to play at another SEC school next season. His coach, Lamont Paris, recently said. Paris, as well as many stakeholders in the sport, believe that a power conference starting basketball player is valued at 7 figures. One agent said his client just transferred for an annual salary of $2 million starting next year. The player averages less than 10 points a game. The agent told Yahoo Sports under condition of anonymity as he was not authorized to speak about his client's financials. Everyone has been calling it the Wild West, says one athletic administrator whose team is competing in the Final Four. Well, the next 7 days, it will be the wildest of the West. Monday is D-Day. On Monday, some 1,700 miles away from the men's Final Four site, a 75-year-old retiring California judge will hear testimony from objectors to a settlement that stands to alter college athletics forever. The industry sits on the edge of a knife, teetering on a legal decision from an outsider who is ruling from all places, downtown Oakland, far from a college sports hotspot. Conferences and schools have invested thousands of hours and millions of dollars into this new revenue share infrastructure and enforcement entity. Schools have signed thousands of athletes to revenue share agreements, all of them, contingent on the settlement's approval. Woo! Though it is expected to distribute at least $20 billion to college athletes over its 10-year existence, the settlement has been the target of widespread criticism from an array of groups. Department of Justice, Department of Education, hundreds of athletes see their roster positions eliminated because of the roster limits. However, and this has been, this has been underreported, Even, I've underreported this. However, plaintiff and defendant attorneys have publicly expressed strong support for its approval, gesturing toward the sheer numbers. Of the 400,000 members of the settlement class, only 600 of them objected or opted out. So we got to make sure we remember this. There are a lot of members in this settlement class. 400,000, a little bit less than 400,000 approved of this deal. And only about 600 of them did not. Skipping over. Here we go. Signing players to contracts before Monday and then paying out most or all of those contracted dollars before July is paramount for two reasons. The cash, if you do it now, doesn't count against the school's revenue share pool cap, which is expected to be $20.5 million in year one. Secondly, the contracts are not subjected to the new Deloitte-run clearinghouse. Using fair market value analysis, and we don't know what that is. I mean, we don't have a clue what they're using, Deloitte. The clearinghouse is expected to reject third-party NIL deals, especially from boosters, that do not fall into Deloitte's compensation range. Compensation range, how do they get to it? How loose, how tight? We have no idea. So there it is, guys and gals. We are going to get to your phone calls right now. Everybody is on the edge of their seat. Everybody. The chatter behind the curtain, which I'm fortunate to talk to some people, they're on the edge of their seat. We don't know what Judge Wilkin is going to do. Let's go through this. Preston from Greensboro. All of this is clear as mud. Thank you for the super chat, Preston from Greensboro. Thank you so very much for your continued generosity. I do very much appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We don't know what Judge Wilkins is going to... We don't know if she's going to give final approval. We believe she's going to. She gave preliminary approval back in the fall of last year. We don't know that for sure. But that is the chalk, that she's going to approve it. We don't know if there's going to be any, a little bit of adjustment to it, right? We don't know when she's going to give final approval to this settlement. We don't know. It could be Tuesday. It could be April 8th. It could be April 9th. It could be May 9th. We have no idea. We don't know how Deloitte is going to run. We don't know about the enforcement arm. There's more and more information. Third party, separate from NCAA. There's a name out there. There's a search firm. There's stuff out there. Maybe we will attack that tomorrow. There's going to be more reporting on it. But before I get to your phone calls, I just want to make sure, I have no idea how this is going to work, but I do know this. The schools signed on to this. Every school in the Power 4 conference signed on to this deal. Remember that. 400,000 members of the class action suit approved of the deal. The lawyers approved of the deal. Wilkins did a preliminary approval. The back pay is $2.8 billion. The hammer that the House lawyers had was if these schools, these conferences, NCAA, if they did not come and make a negotiation settlement, that $2.8 billion would have shot upward. And it would have decimated. The back pay would have decimated many, many, many athletic departments. So a settlement, I mean, in many ways, the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, the NCAA, you already lost. You lost. This is a settlement deal. And you brought in a couple other antitrust suits folded into this. So this is how you can survive to sign on the dotted line on this deal. And they did it. So this is what we got until this gets broke apart by other lawsuits or whatever. But this is what we got for now. And what is so incredible about this story, is Sankey, Tony Petitti, Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Lane Kiffin. None of them, not a one of them. Brett Yormark, Phillips, none of them. Gloria Nevarez, none of them. Pernetti, none of the commissioners. Bubba Cunningham, none of the athletic directors. Nobody. Nobody has control over how Deloitte is going to do this. Nobody knows how Deloitte is going to run this clearinghouse, how tight they're going to run it. Are they going to be quick with the denials? Are they going to be quick with the rubber stamps? We have no idea. And this third-party enforcement arm in which athletic directors, leaders of the 10 conferences have been coming together for months, having meetings in this creation of this enforcement arm. We do not know how big the staffing will be of this enforcement arm, what type of powers they will have, what the appeal process will be. We know nothing. And I don't think Kirby Smart does either. I don't think Lane Kiffin does either. I don't think my beloved PJ Fleck has a clue what's going on. And that's not a shot against him. This is the world that we're... So in this settlement, FBS, the conferences, they've lost some of this control. And if you're going to cheat, okay, you're going to cheat. But if you get caught, the hammer's coming down. If you don't think the hammer's going to come down, or if you're going to run to your attorney general, well, there's a bigger hammer. There is a bigger hammer, and that's the settlement itself. The lawyers of House, the swimmer from Arizona State. The hammer is, if this collapses, if this whole settlement collapses, if it doesn't run out the 10-year stretch, then that $2.8 billion is going to go way up. And it is going to bury these athletic departments. So we are sitting on the knife's edge. And they're hoping for a carve out from the federal, from Capitol Hill. They're going to be running up there on April 8th, April 9th. And I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So buckle up, brace for impact. It is the Wild Wild West, the Velvet Hammer. Some schools will cheat. And if they get caught, We'll see what happens. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Give us a call. Talk about anything in college football that you desire. If you want to talk about Sacramento State, that's cool. If you want to talk about April 7th, go for it. If you want to talk about any news that is coming out of spring football, that would be excellent.
Call from
Numbskull News.
Numbskull News. The floor is yours. Sir, Numbskull News, I just want to let you know, you do inspire people, my friend. You do. You are entertaining as hell. You are informative. You're a great dude. You are authentic as possibly can be. Thanks for calling, my friend. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you. I'm sure I've inspired some people to break their keyboards or phones or drive into a concrete pillar. As far as I don't know, something's weird about this whole Deloitte thing and all that, because I mean, there needs to be some rules and regulations. I get that, but I find it weird that, I don't know. As far as what I read, it seems like they want to stop just boosters just handing bags of cash to students.
Yep. Pay to play. Yep.
Okay. So, but does that mean that if, I don't know, Coca-Cola wants to throw a check down, then that's okay? And does it matter how much that money is? That's what I'm not sure about.
Well, I'm not sure about anything. I don't think anyone is. Now, I'm going to guess. I'm just going to guess. I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to guess. Like national advertisers, maybe a Deloitte will have more of a leeway in those type of deals. I mean, it's like if a national advertiser, if they're going to use this person's name, image, and likeness, of course, the deal is going to be more valuable. But if it's like a local car wash or something, local car washes used to give bags of cash to these athletes. Maybe, possibly, Deloitte is going to say, nah, that's pay to play. That's not the true market value of your name, image, and likeness.
Well, I mean, it could be a highly successful car wash, right?
It could. It could. And
it could be Elon Musk car wash.
And it may depend on what market it is in, and yeah, we just don't know the metrics they're going to use or.
Yeah, I don't know. And I kind of hear what, as you went over kind of what Kleiman was talking about, how it's nuts and everyone's trying to recruit all his kids and all that. But at the same time, these kids have been kind of getting screwed around for decades and decades and decades.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that they can, if they don't like their situation, they can go somewhere. Or if someone's going to offer them some money, that they can go somewhere. Yeah. Now, I think there needs to be a lot of adjustments with the with this transfer portal period. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, they need to actually tailor them to the sports that make money. So football should have a transfer portal period that's not, in the playoffs. And basketball needs to have one that's not, in the middle of the tournament. That's stupid.
So stupid. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Let's get them to the off season. Oh, what about class? Oh, like class matters. They've been getting these kids on basket weaving courses so they won't flunk, so they can play on Saturdays. I mean, that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
So the non-revenue sports, keep it as is. Who cares? But the revenue sports, you got to start tailoring things to this new environment. And I think that's the big problem, is that you have a lot of old heads that, traditionalists, and then you have, okay, now the business is going to start expanding. They're going to start monetizing like never before. and people have a big problem. But if players are going to get paid, then things have to change a little bit. And I just have a hard time feeling sorry for any conference or any school when it comes to paying players or players being able to move around the country as they see fit to control their own destiny. I don't know. This isn't the NFL. We don't have collective bargaining. If we had collective bargaining, like you said, then we can start really throwing down some rules and regulations. But without that, I'm kind of, let the players get the bag. And we both know, we've been around long enough that just because you get paid, that doesn't mean it's going to solve all your problems.
Yeah.
So there's a good and a bad with everything.
I will say this. Even under collective bargaining agreement, I'm not sure if you can really stop a student athlete from going to one school to another school. As long as the educational part is part of this, you can't you can't stop someone from wanting to go to another school. But on the other hand, and I'm gonna be a lot of times I'm on the labor side, but on this particular issue, this one particular issue, I'm on the owner's side, the conference school side. How dare you sit here without collective bargaining agreement, and that's this. These contracts, and there's really good, smart people that disagree with me. We've hashed it out on X and on this channel. If you are a young man, if you've opted into this world, which most of them are, because they want to have the NIL in-house help them strike a deal, because most players are not superstars like Arch Manning. So most guys are opting into this thing. When you sign a contract, and we are hearing these contracts have a buyout provisions in them, just like a coach has a buyout provision in them. If you sign that contract, and if you're going to if you sign it with TCU, your Horned Frogs, and a year later you want to go to Kansas State, and it's a 2-year contract that you sign, you can go to Kansas State, but TCU is going to get compensation back. They are, either from you or Kansas State, depending on what the contract says and all that stuff. But look, I get it. These players are signing contracts outside of a collective bargaining agreement. However, this is the real world. I have signed contracts that have not been collective bargaining. I've never worked for a union. I'm pro-union. My dad was, but I've signed contracts. I've been a consultant. When you are an adult and you sign a contract, that contract's gonna say how you can get out of it, but there's gonna be a compensation coming back to the university, to the program that just lost you. I think that's the reality of the new world. What are your thoughts on that, Numbskull News?
Well, I am a member of a union. I'm a Teamster, UPS driver. That's the main. I don't make money on YouTube much, but I will say this: I keep what I kill. I only get paid for the hours that I actually work. So what they need to do, what TCU and everybody else needs to do, is say, okay, the multi-year contracts for a college athlete that only has like 4 or 5 years of eligibility, depending on red shirt and whatnot, that's stupid, because they're only there for so long. This isn't the NFL, where they could have a 10, 15-year career or a 3-year career, depending on if something blows out or not. In college, it should be you pay a year at a time. No more than that. And if you pay more than that, then you're stupid. It's on you. That's the way I see it. There's no way I would sign a college kid to a multi-year deal. I'm signing you 1 year at a time.
Really?
That's the proper way to do it. What's that?
If you're the school, you would only have 1 year contracts?
Well, yeah, because I don't want to deal with all the rigmarole if you hit the portal or you want to leave or whatever. I'm trying to play to your best interest. I'm like, look, we're going to sign you for 1 year for X amount of dollars. And that pay doesn't start till after the transfer portal closes. So that way I know you're here through the season. And they really need to switch these transfer portals so that way they can't leave during the middle of the season or the CFP or whatever. But that's the way you got to protect yourself. These are kids. You're an organization. These schools are worth a ton of money. They have big media contracts. They need to protect themselves. It's not like these players have a union or anyone else to protect them except for their parents, or they may have an agent. But that's it. So to me, it's like, these guys aren't victims at all. TCU's not a victim. It's like, be smarter with your money. Don't pay a player or have them sign a stupid contract that ain't worth the ink it's written with for 2 or 3 years. And then, because that's just going to bite you. Then you got to sue. It's going to cost lawyers and whatever. Because that kid ain't going to keep that money. That money's gone as soon as it hits his hand. We know how it is with an 18 or 19-year-old.
I wonder. I guess I really never thought about what.
Because it's one thing if it's a fully grown NFL player and they're signing okay, that's already been worked out and addressed. But these are stupid kids, and every one of them are stupid going into college. They're not good with money. They have our public schools are a joke. They don't train kids how to deal with money. The only time these kids get training is if they have parents with enough forethought to train them themselves. So, and that's not going to look good before a judge either. That they're going to try to hold an 18-year-old kid responsible for millions of dollars. Okay. How about you, TCU, or you, Alabama, or you, Ohio State? Why don't you be more responsible with the money you're paying these kids? That's kind of that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I'm usually not pro-labor, believe it or not. I especially when it comes to NFL football players. But with these kids, if you're TCU or anyone else, protect yourself, protect your investment, protect your money. Multi-year contracts are just stupid.
I'm gonna put out a poll here. The poll question is, and I worded it awkwardly because I'm a moron. Will half or more of the college football player contracts be 1-year contracts? In other words, 50% or more of the college football player contracts, are they going to be 1 year? Does everybody understand what I wrote? Are there so 50% or more of the contracts to these football players are going to be single year contracts, or they're going to be less than half be single year contracts. I'm very interested in what the PATC family. I guess they're really now numbskull news. We're sitting here at 50%. After 23 votes, 50, yeah. So the PATC family is split on it. Go ahead, sir.
Well, think about it, Greg. Like NFL teams, they got an incredible amount of money. They hire people to vet people before they hit the draft. So before they draft them, so they know everything. They know your blood type. They know what color your stool is. They know everything before they draft you.
I tell you though,
most of these colleges don't have those kind of resources. They can't vet the living crap out of you. And what is there to vet with a high school kid? Most of them aren't going to. They ain't going to turn into the good person or the bad person they're going to be until they hit college or the college age, until they get that money. And how does that change them? Where does their work ethic go? So you're going to give a kid multi-year deal Yeah, sure, maybe they're a 4 or 5 star guy, but how many of those have we seen not pan out? A lot. A lot of 2 or 3 star guys don't pan out, or they become, worthy of a 4 or 5 star status by the end of it. It's just so much of an unknown factor to give these kids a multi-year contract. It's ridiculous. And I would never do it.
I can see it both ways. I'm sitting here right dab in the middle of this. And, of course, we got 50-50 after 36 votes. I mean, sometimes you're recruiting a left tackle and you got into a recruiting war and you're giving him probably a little bit more of the rev share that you should be giving him. And he's not going to start year one. He's got all the measurables. He's a mid 4-star. I would be giving him more than 1 year. But on the other hand, the question is, will 50% or more of the contracts be a player for 1 year? I mean, am I gonna sign my field goal kicker for more than 1 year? My punter, my snapper, my long snapper? Probably not, because I don't know, numbskull. I don't
know. Your kickers are the most dependable people. Long snappers. I mean, the Cowboys had a same long snapper for over 20 years. So those guys they got one job: snap the ball. Yeah, but a lot of these other, I don't know. Unless you're the Manning kid that has a big name and a big draw and all that, then okay. I would pay more if it's a guy who's just a highly coveted left tackle. I would pay more for 1 year versus a 2-year deal. Because if I'm a player, I don't want a 2-3. I don't want to be locked into you. What if you suck? What if you fire the coach or the people who recruited me? Yeah. So I want the choices, and I want the money. That's the only way to have both, is a 1-year contract. That's just me. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I don't see how you could. Well, again, and then a lot of it has to do with how these contracts are written. Like, from the school point of view, from the head coach point of view, what is my out to get rid of this player? What is, you know what I'm saying? What if I want to cut this kid? Like, what's the word? What's the verbiage in this contract? And if there is a way to do that, then you might see more than 1 year contracts, because you're not taking on the risk. So,
what if he shows up to practice his first day freshman year with a big swastika tattoo on his chest? That's going to be a problem. And maybe you need to get rid of him, but you gave him a 2-year contract. So,
but
there may be some other players to feel a certain way.
But if a player signs for more than 1 year, and if they get injured, and that injury goes to the second year, and they're under contract for that second year, they're going to get paid. What if they're not under that contract? They get injured, So there is that risk for the player not to sign more than 1 year. But anyways, look, I think the one thing we can, well, maybe we don't all agree on it, but the one thing I wish these contracts were in public. I wish we could see them, because Numbskull News, first of all, the content that would give you and me and the people who watch these college football YouTube channels that want to talk college football, the content alone, would be unbelievable. We would be arguing, why in the hell are they paying Josh Hoover's backup quarterback $275,000? You know what I'm saying? It would be just fascinating. Yeah. But we're not going to get that information.
No, not with a private school. You won't.
Well,
unless Deloitte has to publish it.
Unless they become employees, we're not going to get it with the public either. It sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, it can go a lot of different ways. Yeah. But that was just my 2 cents on it. That's what I thought about it.
You got it. I appreciate it. Anything else, sir?
Just go Horned Frogs. Best team in the Big 12.
And
they're staying in the Big 12 forever.
Huh?
People. And they're staying in the Big 12 forever, people.
You got it.
All right.
You got it. Thanks. Appreciate it, sir. Great call.
I appreciate it, sir. Bye.
Morris Simmons is in the house. Goal nose. Brad Johnson. Brad Johnson had he had a couple years starting with the Vikings. He was drafted by the Vikings. I believe it was back in the day where the draft went beyond 7 rounds. Somebody investigate what round did Brad Johnson get drafted. I want to say it was 9, 10, 11, something like that. I might be wrong. I might be thinking of it all wrong.
From
Rick.
Rick is on the line. The floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for taking the call.
You bet.
How do you get your attorney? Or how do you sign a contract when you don't understand what the terms of the contract are?
Well, you better not sign the contract then. Don't sign it. Don't sign it unless you get representation. Don't sign that contract. But if you do sign it, well, then you signed it.
Yeah, but if the people with the contract can't explain what Deloitte does.
Well, that's a good point. Now, I'm wondering. I'm thinking about a contract that is under the rev share cap. They're signing a contract for the rev share cap. The NIL, I'm not even thinking NIL when it comes to that. I'm thinking that's another contract that you're signing. What? So I don't know what numbers. I think I'm not sure what. When I'm talking contracts, I believe that is a contract. When I'm talking about it, is the rev share part of it. When you're doing an NIL deal, you're signing a separate. That's got to be a separate contract, and that would be under Deloitte. So I agree with I think I agree with half of what you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what Deloitte. Here's the thing. Should you be opting into this entire world if you do not know how Deloitte is running?
Well, that's my question.
Okay,
that's exactly what I was asking.
I'm thinking rev share, where you're getting directly paid by the school and you're talking contract and all that. Okay. That's a great point. Maybe you shouldn't be signing. Maybe you shouldn't be opting in. But most of them are. Most of them are. And maybe the ones that are not opting in, and there are some that are not opting in. But the thing is, even when you're doing something with the collective, outside collective, supposedly, Rick, that deal is supposed to be submitted to Deloitte. So,
well, yeah, but why should I? I don't know what they do.
Huh?
What do you mean should be?
Well, I'm not saying I think it is going to be, but I'm not sure on that. But I think it is, because every time I read that, it's you're going to have most collectives working inside the athletic department. It's basically an outside collective that has moved in-house, and it's all being worked together. Those deals are going to be like the school has a relationship, a relationship with a business. They're going to work on an NIL deal. That's going to get submitted to the Deloitte. But I think go ahead.
They get to see the wizard behind the curtain, but I don't.
Well, I don't know anybody. I don't think anybody. Are you talking about the wizard Deloitte? I don't think anybody knows.
Well, you guys, but it's going to be settled on Monday. Somebody's got to know.
No, we're not going to know on Monday. So Deloitte, the clearinghouse, all that is part of the settlement. But we're not going to know how Deloitte implements this in the real world until we get into it. That's how I've been reading it forever, and I think with this Ross Dellinger article, I think that cements it. I mean, we don't have a clue how Deloitte is going to look at these deals. Are they going to be looking at a lot of these deals as pay for play, or that they're legitimate? And how do they come to this decision? None of this, we know none of it.
Does Judge Wilkins?
Well, I don't think I don't know, man. I don't know, because is Deloitte's secret sauce going to be in one of the papers that Judge Wilkins is going to be flipping through while she's making this final approval? I don't know. Great questions. I have no answers once again.
The people who are impacted by it. More importantly, that's who's most important. The people who are impacted by it.
Yep.
Are they going to know? Are they ever going to know?
What do you mean they're ever going to know?
Ever going to know what Deloitte uses in the secret sauce?
I think we're going to learn. I mean, when an NIL deal gets submitted and denied, supposedly that can be the deal can be, Deloitte will tell them what needs to happen for that deal to pass.
Then why can't they tell them now?
I mean, because I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe. Now I could be wrong. You could be right, Rick. Maybe on Monday, we all get to see this secret sauce, right? We all get to see it. Maybe that's part of it. Or a week from now, or 2 weeks from now. Maybe we get to see it.
Wait a minute.
I'm not going to be smart enough to understand it, but you and others might, and you'll be able to explain it to me. Maybe that does get opened up.
It can't be a week or 2 weeks from now. We've already waited. All of the objections were supposed to have been filed 6 weeks ago.
The objections are in. Everybody signed on.
So that she had every single piece of every objection from everybody involved, and she could take it all under her judicial robes and spit out a ruling on Monday.
Well, it might not come Monday.
Now we're going to have a 7-hour drama fest in a courtroom.
That's right.
Where 840 people are going to come up with new objections.
No more objections. Let's go.
This will drive you crazy. And then when she makes a ruling, it's going to get carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey in every court across the nation.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I had to get that out. Thank you.
You got it. Anything else, sir?
No, sir. Thank you.
You got it. Appreciate it. Great call by Rick. Rick is not wrong. Maybe I was thinking. Great question, Jose. I do not know. I was thinking that we weren't going to really understand the implementation of the clearinghouse until we start hearing deals that get passed or denied. But then again, we're not going to know these deals specifics anyways, and there's going to be a lot of rumors. And maybe we won't even find out what is denied and what has been okayed by Deloitte. I don't know. It's going to be, Vox Quindaro, Deloitte is based on a preposterous premise and serves nefarious forces. I said it. Well, Vox, what if I told you that the fat guy from Minnesota was going to be the head of Deloitte's clearinghouse for college football? What do you think of that? Nefarious. I'm going to put the rubber stamp on every single Golden Gopher NIL deal, and I'm going to deny all Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk NIL deals. What about that? Have the courts solved one of these issues? Have they been beneficial in any way just once? It's going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. Oh, okay. I think we're going to log off for the day. We've been on air for an hour and 36 minutes. But we had to cover the Ross Dellinger article, the Sacramento State news, and everything else that's going on in college football. We went over how Chris Kleiman, the head coach of Kansas State Wildcats, says everything. College athletics is a disaster. And we are heading into April 7th. April 7th, Judge Wilkins, beat the clock. Get your deals in now, because if you don't get them in now, they might be okayed by Deloitte later on. If you want your millions, get it now, because those millions could be scarce in the next couple of months. Or maybe not. We just don't know. I want to thank everybody who's joined us for this live show, April 3rd, as we head into that April 7th. A lot of drama in college sports right now. It is resting on the knife's edge. Jimmy, Austin, Anthony Carlson, Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina, thank you so much for your generosity, helping us keep the lights on. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate the phone call, the great comments here. The Big Lubbock, you're very smart, man. Great. Jayhawk deals should be questioned. Well, I'm going to, look, Big Lubbock, I'm going to be looking at the Red Raiders deals with your big billionaires out there. Oh, yeah. It's not going to be pay for play. It's not going to be pay for play, baby. Thank you, Cranky Tiger. Golden Blue Dude, rest in peace. Great way to end the show. We talked about it earlier in this live show. Golden Blue Dude, he left us 2 years ago. And I tell you what, when we see him again, it will be forever. And it will be a great day, a great moment. Golden Blue Dude in the heavens. We continue to pray for his family and his loved ones. And I know he had a little boy waiting up for him So I know he has rejoined him. And we miss you, Golden Blue Dude, Chris Petrie. We miss you greatly. The impact you have left on us. And again, I go back to the Randy Travis song, The Three Wooden Crosses. When I hear that song, I think of Golden Blue Dude. We know he is watching college football. We do know that. He's covering it up there. He is, no question about it. If you're new to the channel or if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe. Smash the like button if you like our content. And then share this video with your family and friends. Keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you are notified to this channel. We could come on live at any time, any breaking news. And there is going to be a lot of breaking news in the month of April and into the summer. So buckle up until next time. From all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.